Focus on the Arts is made possible by a financial support grant from Indiana University East.
Hi, I'm Chris Rogan. Welcome to Focus on the Arts. Here I go again. You realize that sometimes I kind of foray a little bit out for the artistic world, but I think this is really important. You might remember that a few weeks ago I did a segment on the swim club, and I'm hoping to do a segment on the dance troupe in a couple of weeks. But today we're at the Richmond Gymnastics and Training Center, and I'm talking with a couple of different people in different levels of this gymnastics center that we'll see talk about why they're here and what they do and how they perform. First I'm talking to is your title manager?
I'm director.
Director of the Richmond Gymnastics Center is Ruth Balthus, and one of her teachers is Colleen Birch. And then we've got Marissa Ross, who is one of their younger students here and a student of yours in one of your classes,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Let's talk with you first a little bit. I was reading all of the information you gave me. This building is 10 years old.
Yes.
So, but the Richmond Gymnastics Center as a center, have you been with this from the beginning, and how long is that?
This actually started in 1981. A guy named Willie Locke brought gymnastics to Richmond, and I started as an instructor for him.
Where were you then? I mean, you can't house this just anywhere.
On Richmond Avenue and 5th Street, what's now
Oh
Fastenal.
yes, that's right, that's right. Okay.
From there, we moved to where the Senior Citizen Center is.
Off Liberty Avenue.
Off of
right?
Liberty Avenue. And from there, we moved downtown where the old Osco Drugs used to
Right.
be. And then from there, we moved here.
Yeah, nice building, nice
Yes.
big building. And does it give you everything you need here? And nice central location?
This is like our dream place. We have in-ground pit, in-ground trampoline, full-size floor. The equipment is set up in Olympic order, so as the kids rotate from equipment to equipment, they already know Olympic order. It's a nice facility.
Now, short of what we're doing for you here today and trying to talk a little bit more about this, because I admit, I mean, while I'm active in the community, this is not one of the aspects that I'm familiar with as a parent. My kids are involved in lots of different things. This happens not to be one of them at the moment, although now that they're here with me today, that might change. How do you get the word out, and is it a lot of word of mouth?
Yes, our biggest draw is from people that have been here that have told other people, and word of mouth. We do advertising. As a not-for-profit corporation, we don't have a large budget, and part of that, the reason that we're not for profit is because we try to keep the costs down as much as possible. This is a very, very expensive sport. The
Yes.
equipment is ridiculously expensive. But
Insurance, is there insurance issues
yes,
also?
the
Yeah.
insurance is
Yeah.
also expensive, and that's why we require a membership fee. That membership fee basically puts children on our liability insurance, because this is a dangerous sport.
Yeah.
It involves movement. It involves turning upside down. And anytime you're doing both of those things at the same time, there's a possibility that you can
But
hurt
don't
yourself.
parents and kids kind of know that? I mean, that's sort of
And,
part
yeah,
of it,
they
right?
know that coming in. We get a lot of children that have the need to turn upside down. You see one right over there. She's standing in line, but she can't just stand in line.
Right.
She has to turn upside down.
I have one of those at home, I know.
And so this is a perfect way to channel that
Yes,
energy,
right.
that need for just
And as an
flipping.
instructor, what are you finding in the different ages of the students? Now, Marissa, how old are you?
5.
5. So you're in preschool. Is this your first year at doing gymnastics?
Nope, she started here in a preschool class.
Do you have older brothers and sisters that do this, or are you a first in your family?
I'm the first in my
You're the
family.
first in your family.
I
And
think you have a cousin that did this, don't you?
what do you look for in students? Because, you know, teaching piano or even with the swim club, it's not about talent. It's about
No.
desire and dedication and commitment and all of these other kinds of human goals that you have. What are you looking for in these students?
I look for basically, I actually demand attention from each and every one of them, and that's something we work on a lot. If they pay attention in line, then I know they're going to get more from when it's their turn.
Yes.
So the discipline
Well,
that
that teaches them a lot right there.
Absolutely. The discipline that it takes for them to just be able to stand in line and watch, you have to really capture them to get their attention,
Well, it's
for them to do.
you have to sort of remind them what they can get out of watching other people go through the routine.
Absolutely.
Also.
And I think one of my biggest things is safety first. So when they're in line trying to flip and flop, you know, that's also a big no-no.
Yeah.
It's got to be safe.
And what's your favorite thing to do here? Of all the equipment that you do here, what's your favorite thing so far?
Bars or beam or floor or vault.
Are there specialties just for this age group, like things she doesn't participate in? And
They
things that
cover all four
She
Olympic
does all
events.
around.
We're going to
She
get
does
to
all
see
the
some of what you do. We're going to see a floor routine from you a little later, aren't we?
What do you like to do best? Do you like to go to beam or bars or stay on the floor or to go on the vault?
Beams?
All
Isn't that the
right.
hardest thing? That's the little 4-inch space you've got. That's tough. Good for
You're used
you.
to it, huh?
Tell me about this color thing that I was reading about that has to do with goals and purple, royal
okay.
blue. I thought that was
Our
interesting to
competitive
read.
team- Our competitive team has 4 colors. Royal blue, which represents excellence. Usually when you get a first prize, it's a blue ribbon. Green, teal green, which represents growth and continuing growth. Purple, which represents passion. And
Yes.
black, which represents fear. And those are the 4 things that they have to deal with. If this sport has a lot of fear involved in it. You know, you just talked about a 4-inch
Yes,
wide beam
right.
sitting 4 feet off the floor,
Right.
and you're expected to tumble on
Right,
that.
right.
That creates a lot
Although
of fear.
with children, don't you find that because they're children, they sometimes don't know enough to be afraid? And
True.
they're better
True.
sponges than we
Yes.
as adults would be
Yes.
going, I don't think I can do that. They almost don't question themselves.
Yet, the longer I'm in this, the more it amazes me how young that has filtered down to. I have tots
Is that
that
society?
will say, I can't.
See, I tell them they're not allowed to use
when
that
I
word.
First, yes.
not a
and
word
Yeah, it's not a
we
word
do
here
too.
either.
We have a
Yeah.
sign right over there that
Yeah.
says, I can,
Sure.
maybe I can't, maybe I haven't, perhaps
Sure.
I won't, but I know I can, so I keep on trying.
Well, it's not a whole lot different, I think, from the performing aspect of what I do and in teaching them how to prepare for a recital. You have to teach them that they have to look like they know what they're doing, and you have to have a presence about you that fakes it even if something goes wrong. You may be the only one that knows something's going
Exactly.
wrong. You just keep going on with it, and that's got to be part of this
yeah.
commitment that you've got in teaching them also.
Absolutely.
How many do you have in any one class? Because
It's
that's
a-
what I marvel at.
It's an 8-to-1 ratio. Eight children per instructor.
And you have different age groups, not just Marissa's age.
Absolutely right. Probably in the rec class up to about 14 years old.
And you teach at the high school also, but how many nights a week are you here?
Every night.
And you're here all the time, too.
Yeah, we're every day.
All the time.
Every night,
You're
yeah.
living here.
We're sort of addicted to this.
Well, you would have to be.
Yes.
It's got, like you said about the purple, it's got to be a passion. And a lot of times in this program, one of the reasons I choose a certain person to talk to is I find something about them that I see as passionate. And I think that's so important to anything you do well.
Yes.
And isn't that part of what this is?
Yes.
Now,
Absolutely.
does the Olympics play into the appeal of this?
Yes.
Do you find any
Most
surge?
people find out about gymnastics through the Olympics. They watch the Olympics. In '96, when we had a gold medal women's team, our enrollment was big
Sure.
in September. Now it always dwindles back down, and by the time we get to summer, when we're competing with swimming and golf and soccer and baseball, we have a drop in enrollment. But we do this all year round, because to be good at it, you have to work at it.
Well, and you
all
do
year.
compete with a lot. I know that with my piano students, if it's soccer season, they're out for a
Exactly.
while. And with my own kids, we're trying to juggle a couple of different sports at a time. It's nice to have that many things to choose from. It's certainly nice that that's what they want to do, because activity is part of all of this process.
Yes.
And you really get a kick out of coming here. You enjoy coming here? Yeah? Is it fun?
Yeah.
I want to read a quote here that I just thought was really wonderful. It says, "We must teach our athletes that to master gymnastics is to master balance. When we lose our balance, we fall. Life works the same way." And you're teaching them more about themselves than just the routine.
Exactly.
And what their body can do.
One of the reasons that I chose this sport, that I have a passion about this sport, is as a physical educator, I was exposed to a lot of different sports. This was the only sport that I felt developed children's bodies. They get strong, they get flexible, but at the same time, it teaches so many life skills. Balance is a life
Right.
skill. not only the ability to balance on a 4-inch piece of wood, but the ability to balance this activity
Homework
with that
and
activity,
that's right.
with school,
That's right.
with what family
And you
time
can't
whatever.
teach that too young, even if it's just on the surface. You know,
Even
they get
in the
that.
TOTS classes where we're working with kids that are 2 years and under, one of the very first things they have to learn to do is sit and wait and watch
Yeah.
what the other person's doing. Follow directions. And that is a hard thing
Very
to
hard.
learn.
Very hard.
And the younger they learn it, the better off they are. There's also studies that have shown that children that participate at an early age in gymnastics have better attention, learn to read faster,
Well, it's like music
and
then.
learn to
Yeah.
juggle their time,
Right.
learn to manage their time easier.
And time management is a big adult life skill. We're going to talk with a couple of other students at different ages and levels, and I thank you very much for talking with us and giving us sort of a background in this. Thanks. We're going to get a little routine out of you later, okay? Thanks very much. We'll be right back. I'm back now and we're talking with Kirsten Baumgartner and Logan Sherman. Logan Sherman is the daughter of the camera operator. He's right behind there. And Kirsten Baumgartner, I have known you since you were just itty bitty. Long time, right? You are not the same age,
No,
right? How old are you?
I'm 14.
14 and you're
13.
13? Well, that's not that far apart. How long have you been doing this?
Since I was 2.
2. Now, what did you do when you were 2?
Moms and tots.
And did Kelly join you?
Yes.
Talking about you, Kelly. Did she have to tumble and everything along with you?
No.
No, she just had to be there to support you. Did you love it?
I guess so. I don't really remember.
Well, you're still with it. Did you do other sports in between time?
No.
That's always been gymnastics.
Yeah.
Yeah. And same with you?
I started when I was about 3, and I've done dance, and I play soccer.
I would think that dance and gymnastics would help one another out. Did your dad do tots with you
No, I started in preschool.
in preschool? So you don't have to have a parent
No.
with you when you do that. Do you both compete? Is part of your level requirement? And maybe it's not a requirement. I don't know. Do you do competitions? And what does that include?
Yeah. Like, what do you mean? What
Well,
does that include?
do you go out of town for it? Do you compete with other students at your level? Do you...
Well, you go out of town. Usually there's sometimes home meets, and you go and you compete with your level, and there are different age groups you compete in.
And what's your specialty then?
Like event,
Yes.
either beam or
sorry.
floor.
See, you have to correct my verbal skills here. Event. What's your event?
Beam or floor.
And you're going to do something here on the floor or beam for us?
Bars.
So you're going to do something that's not your specialty? Is that okay?
Yeah.
What else? What don't you do?
Well, I do all of the events.
And did you get inspired by watching Olympics on TV or anything?
Yeah, like every time I watch them, I do.
Is that what did it for you also? What gave you the
Yes.
idea that this was...
Well, I used to just turn upside down and do somersaults a lot when I was little, and so my parents enrolled me in gymnastics.
I think that's part of what Ruth was talking about also. It's a good idea that if you see that your child is real active, channel it somewhere, and then this lets you get rid of a lot of that energy, because I know you're not nearly as quiet as you are right now, normally, are you? Because I know you're not shy, right? And what is your, what's your event? I'm sorry, your
My favorite is bars.
bars. And is that the unevens?
Yes, the uneven
Okay.
parallel
I
bars.
love watching that on television with all the flipping around and everything. Do you, either one of you do beam?
Yeah,
Beam?
we both do.
Is that the hardest?
That's my least favorite, but
Why?
I just don't like only having 4 inches
Well,
to
why don't we
be
just
on.
suggest they make it bigger? Don't you think we ought to do that? And they don't make it any bigger just because you're young. It's 4 inches. That's it, right there, no matter what, right?
Right.
How long do you think you're going to do this?
I haven't decided if I want to do college yet, but I'm definitely going to do high school.
And we're going to talk with a high school student here in a minute. This can nicely segue into what the high school requires, can it? Now, is this also something that we consider for future, for scholarships or anything?
Yeah.
Is that something you're thinking about? Do you play a musical instrument? Don't you play something?
I play the flute.
And don't you play oboe? And did I just hear you just quit the oboe?
Yes, I did.
Why?
Because I
Be
switched
off the
schools.
subject here for a minute.
I switched schools to Seton and they don't have a band program.
I bet you were really good at it too.
No, I wasn't.
Oboe is very difficult. Is this easy? Do you find that this is easy?
Well,
Not easy.
sometimes, I mean,
Do you
there are
ever
things that
not
are
want to
hard.
come?
Not usually.
This is usually something you look forward to. It's not like a piano lesson or something awful then, right? And when you compete, are you competing for a team effort or are you competing just within yourself to do best? Or
Both.
do better?
Like you get individual scores and then you can get like a team score.
Total, all around. And how do they score you? Like if you were going to do a routine on the floor, what's a good point to get? Is it like the Olympics? So 10.0 is perfect?
Yeah,
So you're always striving for that.
yeah.
So on your best event, what's your best score?
It depends on like how I do. I mean, sometimes I have a good day and sometimes I don't.
Is it like that in life too? Like taking tests, sometimes you have a good day. And have you experienced that also?
Yes, I've had much better meets than others
So
sometimes.
how do you get yourself in the mood to, because as a performer, I find that sometimes I'm just not in the mood to play. And yet, you know, here we are, 8 o'clock on a Saturday night, you better play. So how do you get yourself up for that kind of thing? Logan, is that one of those mental games you have to play with yourself?
Yes, usually I'm pretty excited about a meet and I have lots of energy and
Do
so,
nerves kick in with this?
Yes.
Yes.
Does that help or hurt?
It hurts me. I don't know.
It gets in your way. Like you get so nervous you can't think, or you just, there goes a gymnast now, or that you can't accomplish it, like you can't get your body to do what you want it to do
Well,
because
like
of nerves. I know
beams-
what that's like.
beam's probably the worst because you get up there and you're shaking and
Yeah.
it's like real hard to stay on.
You know when you play the piano, you shake a little bit too. Did you get nervous when you played the oboe?
No.
Never? Because you weren't that good? What's your instrument?
I play the flute.
The flute. You get nervous for that?
Well, I've only had to perform once and I wasn't too nervous
Well,
because
and
it was with the
usually
entire
you're performing
band.
with a bigger group,
Right,
right?
so-
But this is all by yourself, and like the spotlight is on you, and you get everything you were trained to do ready for that one moment. I think that's one of the most difficult things to do. Well, you're going to show us a little bit of a routine later on, right? We'll look forward to that. I really appreciate both of you joining us. In a minute, we're going to come up and we're going to talk with one of the girls who's on the Richmond High School gymnastic team. Thanks, Kirsten Baumgartner, Logan Sherman. Thank you very much. We'll be right back. Hi, I'm back. Now I'm talking with a family. You know, sometimes if you watch this show often enough, I'll talk about some of my favorite people, and you know, Charlie Springer is one of them that I have never had a chance to shoot. He brought his daughter for this. We talked about wanting to talk to Stephanie Springer. So Charlie decided to join us, and I talked him into it. Charlie will be doing a routine for us here.
You're right.
Thanks for doing this so
Welcome.
much, because we need sort of a parent's perspective on this. How long, we'll talk about you like you're not here for a minute. Does Allison do this also? Because you've got two daughters. They both do it?
Yes, they both do it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
how long have they been doing this? Because this is not on your side of town either.
No,
This is a parental commitment that I
Right.
have to admit has clicked in for me as to it's too far away.
Right.
And it shouldn't be that way. I'm just
Right.
lazy. But
As soon as they've been out of diapers, about 3 years old.
immediately.
Yeah, you have to be out of diapers to be in the program,
Is
but
that a
after
requirement? I didn't even ask that. That's a requirement. I can see why.
right.
Well, then I guess you don't qualify. No, I'm
No,
sorry.
right. So 3 basically.
3. Wow. So and you're 17, 18? 18. It's a lot. It's 15 years.
Right.
Yeah. that's a long. Have you added this up?
Oh no.
Because my
No.
mom used to say, at least you're doing the piano for a living. All those piano lessons were for something.
No,
But fortunately, she never added it up. I don't think you want to do that. Was it worth it? I mean, what have you seen her grow through with this?
Well, she has gained in confidence. I think that the requirements of gymnastics to be ready to perform, and then to have that kind of self-confidence to carry through and to stick with it for 15 years, that's amazing.
That's, a major part of your life.
Yeah.
And now, is it over? Because you're about to go to college in the fall, and you're not going to do gymnastics in college by your choice? Or is there no option for that?
It's by my choice. There are places that I could go that have club programs, or I'm not good enough to compete at the collegiate level. But there are.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Well, I mean. And
do you ever get too old for this? I mean, is there ever a time where you just say, like me, I can't do this?
I'm too old.
You're too old. I mean, would that be? I tell my piano students, don't stop playing. You have all the skills, everything you need to find an outlet to do it. I'm guessing this is always something you could do.
Right. Well, eventually your body gets to the point where it just can't handle it anymore. It gets
got a
too
long
tired
way.
and broken down.
I think that's going to happen. 40. Okay, that's when it happens. You've got plenty of time.
But I think I might. I mean, I'm going to try to come out here over the summer and work out a little bit and stay in shape. But as far as college goes, I'm not going to compete anymore.
Here also?
I did
see
last.
you working with some of the kids.
Yeah, I taught here all last summer, and I've been too busy, with my sports and high school activities during the year, and so I didn't have the time to do it. And I don't think I'm going to be around much this summer, but it's an option if that's what I wanted to do, if I wanted to.
Tell me how this whole program prepared you for what you did in high school, because you tell us what you did in high school. 4 years of gymnastics.
4 years of varsity gymnastics. Yeah.
And that's competing with other high schools who have gymnastics programs.
Without this kind of program, we wouldn't be a competitive team in high school. There are some other county teams, and they're not as well prepared because they haven't had the opportunity to go through a program like this one and be doing gymnastics their entire lives. And so it's really, really helped prepare us and made us competitive at the high school level.
And do you recognize the things your dad was talking about as far as your own personal growth?
Yeah.
Self-esteem, we were talking over on this side about issues.
Yeah.
Of that kind of thing, this helps you gain confidence about lots of things. Like presentation. I would think maybe even something as different as giving a speech would be better prepared because you know what it's like to get up in front of people.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah? You probably never thought about that, but we're thinking about that all the time because that's one of those life things that you do. And you've been competing since you were 3. Did you do it that young?
No, when did I start competing? 11, 12, somewhere around at 10. After the age of 10.
How is that as a parent? Because now that I am one, when Sam did his first swim meet, he can play the piano, it's like whatever, but he swam a butterfly and I was bawling. I just thought, how do you know he could do that? Isn't it amazing to watch your own?
Yes, it is. And the thing about gymnastics, though, is that they have about 2 minutes to do this. And that's it, and so there's a lot of pressure on them to do it.
Right.
And they say if it was any more difficult, they call it football. There's a problem of injuries, and that's always kind of in the back of my mind because Stephanie had an injury this year in high school that limited her state competition, and so it's just kind of, oh wow, is she gonna be okay? But so it's just that momentary, but it's neat to watch them. She's terrific. Love to watch her.
Well, we're going to get a chance to see you. We're going to make her change clothes. She's going to borrow some clothes here and show us a little bit of routine. You're very athletic. I mean, I remember canoeing with you, and you never knew that. Your dad's quite a canoer. You still do that?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I would think that would help as genetics go, which is why you guys are in such trouble. I don't have any athleticism.
Yeah, no.
But that would help enhance her background in that.
Sure.
So much.
Yeah.
We look forward to seeing what you're going to do for us.
Oh, yeah.
Are you excited about college next year?
Oh, yeah.
Aren't you going to miss all this?
Yeah.
It's time.
Yeah, but it's time to move on.
It's time to move on.
Yeah, I've done gymnastics for so long. It's obviously going to be sad, and I will miss it. I know I will, but...
Do you do other sports?
Yes.
Were you the whole soccer kid and
No, I play volleyball.
volleyball? That's right.
Yeah.
You know, that's another thing about talking about this is oftentimes parents get apathetic and even kids that grow up in this community, and I'm not from here, but there's almost too many things to choose from. So the idea that your kid cannot get involved in something is only because you're not trying.
And it's different than when you and I went to school. I mean, they do sports all the time.
All the time.
And, you know,
Which means
gymnastics
they're
all the
healthier.
time.
They're healthier.
Yeah.
Wouldn't they be?
And it's a good thing to do, keep them busy.
Yeah, and out of trouble. I think that's what you're saying, is keep them out of trouble.
I didn't say that.
I was just watching something the other day that said, how do you keep your teenagers on the straight and narrow? And I even talking with Pat, I said, what kept you from falling into the wrong crowd? He said, an organized group of people like the band. Sports, or something that gets you involved, and so you have a focus and a goal. And I think that probably has enhanced your life more than you know.
Yeah.
And you'll use these same skills. In fact, you need to call your dad one day. I tell my college students this all the time. If it's even 20 years from now and you realize that you took something from this class, even if it's not totally relevant to your life, something that you just gleaned from this class, will you please call me and say thank you? Because these are things that you're going to use in life. I just don't think you always know that for sure. You're adorable. You're so cute. I'm so glad to have you
Oh,
here.
Chris, it's fun to be here.
Thank you.
Nice
I thought
to
she
see
was
you.
going to drive herself, and when you showed up, I thought, Charlie Springer's here. That's so nice. We're going to show you what Stephanie Springer can do, and we'll also give you a script at the end of this to tell you who you can call to make your appointment with the Gymnastics Training Center. Thanks for joining us. I'm Chris Rogan, and we'll get right to Stephanie here in a minute. Thanks.
Chris Rogan welcomes your comments, suggestions, and opinions about Focus on the Arts. You may call her at 973-8582, voicemail box number 1, or you can email your comments to crogan@indiana.edu.
Chris Rogan's wardrobe supplied by The Secret Ingredient.
Focus on the Arts is made possible by a financial support grant from Indiana University East and is produced by Indiana University East in cooperation with Whitewater Community Television.
Each year, thousands are senselessly killed by people with no criminal record at all. People like you.
You are watching Whitewater Community Television, Cable 21.